I can imagine the pressure associated with how do I come in from being civilian, from being in college, doing whatever I was doing. You might have been having fun. You might have been turning up a little bit. Obviously you graduated, you're doing your thing. Your GPA determines, how smart you are or how, your relative ability to pass a test or be obedient. There's different factors associated with the GPA. But then when you think about, all right, I'm going from being civilian you're 24 years old, you got your whole life ahead of you. You might be missing certain experiences, or you might have a lot of experiences. Who knows? Who knows? But now you're coming to the military, and they're saying, if you want this position, you immediately outrank all the enlisted, all of them. The 30-year chief salutes you. The 30-year chief is under you. And they may have more experience, more wisdom, well-traveled, deployed all over the place, been at 10, 12 different bases. They've been in the uniform doing this probably before you were born or, whatever. But then you realize my position, they have leverage, but I have positional power. And that positional power has different rules than leverage. I'm telling you guys, like, you start reading certain books. Robert Greene will kind of open your mind in terms of how power works in this country and how it works across the world, honestly, because it's humans at the core. It's humans. You realize positional power versus leverage. A lot of the time, I would even dare to say most of the time, positional power is more valuable in the long run over leverage, because leverage tends to be, you got one shot. If you think about blackmail is illegal, mind you, so don't be doing no mess. But blackmail is leverage, where you have what they need or want, and they can't negotiate. That they have to surrender. But if you have positional power, you can make a call. Yo, go take care of this, bro. When you have assets, when you have options, when that person works for you, positional power, in a lot of cases, will beat out the leverage, unless that leverage is just too good. But the best, and I always say this about leverage, is that leverage is best unused. It's best unused. You're a threat if you know the truth. You're a target if you speak the truth. Leverage is best sometimes just kept up here. So I don't talk about everything on this channel. You can't talk about everything. You shouldn't talk about everything. Makes you a target. If you look at my Twitter, all my tweets are vague, non-specific, sometimes topical, but very rarely you will have to perceive what I'm talking about. And whatever you think about when you read my tweets, that's what you're thinking about. But you don't know what I'm thinking about when I wrote that, because it's non-specific. You can't. It's like aiming at water, trying to hit it with a hammer. There's no target. And I do that intentionally because of the nature of the platform. But when you move through life like that, you realize there's different rules for different environments. There's positional power, there's leverage, and that as a staff sergeant, I only have so much leverage. As a person with no degree, I have zero leverage on the job market. Zero. It's why I have to build something from scratch, or stay in the system I'm in, or go to a different system and start from the bottom. I don't have leverage. This gentleman here, Brian, has leverage on the job market, which gives him options. When I came into the Air Force, I had one option, enlisted. You notice when you have leverage, you have more options. That's why when we hear people talking about settling, I will not settle for this person. I will not settle for this job. I will not settle for that car. I have options. That's the built-in assumption, is that you have options to choose. And because you can choose what you want, you won't take that. But a lot of people are mistaken when they say, I'm not going to settle for, especially in regards to dating. I promise you, it drives me up the wall to hear people talk about this, because the assumption is that, and again, this is where wisdom comes in, people, because certain things I want to say, I don't. But just realize this, the principle of the matter is that leverage is relative to your options. So this gentleman, Brian, trying to join the Air Force, he has leverage on the job market, which gives him more options than someone who doesn't have a degree, mechanical, engineering degree like myself. I came in enlisted because that was my only option. I didn't settle to be enlisted. That was my only option.